Hello Violas, I'm going to walk you guys through the audition piece for the Chamber and Honors Orchestra for next year. This piece is relatively straightforward, not too much shifting, a little bit of third position, but a few practice suggestions as you guys are starting to kind of plug away at this. My first suggestion would be to practice it without some of these slurs, because I know listening to you guys practice in class, the slurs are kind of throwing you off a little bit. So in the beginning, you might practice it without any slurs. And all separate and really well in time. If you listen to my recording, sometimes in Bach you'll hold some of those low notes a little bit longer to kind of, enjoy those lower voices, but then you don't want to rush the eighth notes after. So I hear some of you guys playing it like this, which is what we don't want. You're playing the slur notes twice as fast as the eighth notes, but even if you stretch that low note, you want to make sure that you still have that steady tempo. So if you're thinking 1 and 2 and 3 and 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 1 and 2 and 3. So even if you're stretching beat 1 a little bit, make sure after that when you get to the slurs that they're not twice as fast so it sounds like a different rhythm, because essentially you have eighth notes all the way through this piece. So while we might kind of push and pull a little bit or hold one a little bit longer, we want to make sure that eighth note pulse is generally steady throughout. The other thing about bowings in here, the first 2 or 3 lines are pretty straightforward, but then in the 4th, 5th, and 6th line, there's a couple of different ones that you can choose. If you change a bowing or fingering, I'm okay with that. If you want to, in measure 23, 24, you have that really long slur. If you want to break that, that's fine. I'm okay with that, but what I suggest to everyone in class is make sure that whatever you change, if it's a bowing or a fingering, that you mark that in your part. Make sure that whatever part you grab, you hang on to that and always practice from that part. If you're always grabbing a new part off the window or borrowing a friend's part, you might forget, do I do that fingering, do I do that bowing? And consistency is going to be really key. So doing that same fingering and bowing each time to make sure that you get everything in line. Fingerings here are pretty straightforward. Most of it's in first position. If you look at measure 18, I have a suggested third position fingering. Again, if you don't do third position, I won't take a ton of points off as long as it's in tune with the beautiful sound and musical, but I would like to see you try this third position fingering. So in measure 18, you go straight to third position on the G string, for you have C, D, C, and then on the C string you have B, A, G. So this is measure 18, you have C, D, C, then stay in third, 4th finger B, way down on the C string, 3rd finger A, 2nd finger G, then right behind it is that F sharp, still in 3rd position, nice high F sharp, and then you jump over to the D string, still in 3rd position for the A, B, A, G, A, still in 3rd for measure 20, 1st finger C on the G string, C, skip up to E, D, C, and then back to first position on the B. And then you go kind of on from there. The rest of this goes pretty smoothly. You can do some different fingerings in measures 29, 30. If you want to maybe not do 4th finger in 29, open A is fine here. Then goes on from there. So in general, the biggest thing I would think is to practice it super slow, separately until you get that left hand rock solid. And then once that left hand's in place, you can add in your bow. So I'm going to play through it super slow. So if you want to practice along, you can do that. But my suggestion for everyone is just start plugging along a little bit at a time, a measure here, measure there, get 2 or 3 lines built up, and then work on putting it together. So that consistency is going to be key. So here it is super slow. 1 and 2 and 3. Another thing that kind of came to mind as I went through that for you is that you want to, there's a couple of fingerings, for example, measure 22, where you have third finger F sharp, that kind of low third finger, to the C natural. So some of those tritone fingerings, you have a similar fingering up in measure 10, where you have the fourth finger G sharp, to the third finger D. Getting those kind of really tucked on top of each other will help. In terms of some of the bowings, if you do what's printed, so take a look at measure 7, 6, 25. You have one note down, and then a whole bunch of notes slurred. So you have 5 notes up bow, 1 note down bow. So what you want to do for those is use a really light, fast bow on the low note. So this is measure 25. Really light, fast bow, and then save on that up bow. Fast bow, save. So think about that bow distribution. So if you have 1 note down and 5 up, you're going to have to use a lot lighter weight, a lot faster bow speed to get to the tip, and then save as you get to the frog. So hopefully this helps you guys a little bit. If you have questions, I'm always available before school, during lunch, and we'll be using some class time as well. So I hope this helps, and good luck.